Well, good morning. I want to welcome you to the memorial service for Linda Booten. Let me make a few introductions. The next three people are going to share a testimony of not just their experience with Linda, but Linda's impact on them. The first, Kathy Hoke, is a longtime friend and encourager. She's unable to be here today, and so we've recorded her testimony. After her, Colleen Van Tilburg, another longtime friend and minister partner of this church, will come and share. And finally, Gregory Grupp, Linda's brother. We ready? All right. Here's Kathy Hoke.
Hi, I'm Kathy Hoke, and I was a friend of Linda's and wanted to welcome you all here. And I wrote something out in honor of Linda, and I'm going to read it. So, Linda and I met several years ago in the Dan Vasquez Library, where we became fast friends. We joined a Bible study at Mickey Pearson's house. We both joined the Beth Moore series that was enriching and challenging. That study began our journey of a shared faith that would shape so much of our time together. At one point, Linda was living near Ramona Street, where we went for a walk. We met up with another lady that went to our church who lived nearby to Linda named Colleen. Colleen and Linda and I would have many challenges and adventures together. Our friendship deepened as we joined a prayer group near Mimi's. Meeting with about 8 other women, we would support each other, and that would become a cornerstone for us, guiding us as we sought God's direction. Linda and I began to meet almost every week at Linda's house, and before each goodbye, we made sure it was a practice to pray with each other, always lifting our lives up to God. We continued this practice until Linda went home to be with Jesus. When I went to Moldova, Linda not only prayed for me, but she also helped me write up a letter to ask for prayer and support from family and friends. She continued to support me in prayer every time I went on the mission field. It became a joy to bring back small tokens of these journeys and share how God had answered our prayers. Linda was also very involved in ministry at church called Coffee Break, which allowed women to share their stories of faith. She would help each woman refine her story, gently guiding them to focus on how Jesus had changed their lives. And Linda was skilled at helping others find their story and God's purpose in their lives. And we even had fun wearing matching pajamas one night that had Coffee Break printed all over them. It was kind of a silly thing to do, but it was fun. Linda was right there to support me as I prepared to share my own story, offering tips on breathing and composure and taking pauses and gathering myself when emotions ran high. I'll always be grateful for her wisdom and warmth during that time. I kind of wish she would have been here for me now so she could help me with this story. Linda was also a writer at heart. She once shared her dream of writing a book about her life struggles and how God had carried her through. After Coffee Break Ministry stopped, Linda and Colleen started a new ministry called Aspiring Writers Forum, where they would help those who want to learn to write out their own stories and encourage each other in finding God's plan and purpose. Throughout our friendship, I had the honor of accompanying her to medical appointments. I remember one doctor, surprised at her illness, said she didn't understand how her body was so easily compromised, and yet she also didn't understand how she recovered so quickly. Linda's life seemed always at the threshold of God's door, but She was like the Energizer Bunny. I think she was. Linda had a deep love for her family, especially her nephews. When her second nephew, Tyler, earned his Eagle Scout award, she hand-stitched a beautiful cross-stitch eagle for him. When her third nephew, Alex, was about to receive his award, Linda had spent most of that year in the hospital. Determined to acknowledge him, she asked if my husband and I could find the perfect eagle picture as a substitute. We found just the right one, and I'll never forget her coming to the house and retrieving it after leaving the hospital, coming to our house, and then going straight to the event where he received the picture. Was really cool. It meant the world to her, and she felt blessed being able to give him something, and it was an expression of her love. Linda's journey on this earth has come to an end, and now she has gone through heaven's door to start a new journey in heaven with Jesus. But her legacy of faith and love and compassion lives on, and I am grateful for the years we shared, for her prayers, for her friendship, and for the many ways she walked with me and so many others through life's challenges. I take comfort knowing that she is with the Lord, who she loves so much, and resting in his peace. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you all for coming. My name's Colleen, the other friend of Linda's that Kathy talked about. I'm glad you're all here today. Yes, she is with me right now. I know that. I entitled my talk, Anointed and Appointed Friendship. These are my reflections. Linda and I found each other in a small group at a time when we both were a bit lost. She was fairly new to the church, and I was, let me see, I lost my voice. We found herself she was serving in the Dan Vasquez Memorial Library, and she also volunteered in the church office. I was in a stage of grief after losing my son. Kathy Hoke, who you met earlier, was very persistent with her love. She got us together, and the three of us became fast friends. Soon Linda heard from God what he wanted from her. It was to start a Christian writers group. I slowly began to trust and share my own heart in words from a tattered notebook with these close friends. Linda asked me, of all people, to partner with her. I really couldn't believe it. With no clue what a writers group might even look like or how I might possibly be an asset, that decision changed my life. It changed my walk with God and moved me forward in my own grief journey. So, we formatted what's called, what you guys all know as an outline to lead the writers group with. It started with Roman numeral number 1, the opening prayer. Linda prayed, and she frequently used these words: Lord, infuse your Holy Spirit into our words so that we might give you glory. Amen. Linda's friendship infused me, saturated me, filled me with a desire to fellowship with like-minded creatives in the most trusting environment where we could know God and make him known through our written words. She had a way of developing a confidence in me and others, and would soon do the same for many women in the church, enabling them to tell their stories of God's goodness in the coffee break ministry. She loved that ministry. Second point on the outline, Roman numeral number 2, the journal question. We traded off weeks developing a thought-provoking question for our group to ponder. The transparency, the insight, the humor, and the tears bonded us as believers to continue what we took in from the sermon on Sunday, and apply it to our lives. Roman numeral number 3 on our outline was reading tonight. Chapters from manuscripts, poetry, random thoughts, and devotionals written in the off hours with hope for just the intent to encourage, filtered first through our group. Linda taught us to use our active voice, to show and not tell. She modeled that in her life, combating and negotiating with a painful and personal disease most of her life. When not many could have bared what she endured. She did it with bravery and tenacity, which I believe kept her with us far longer than many might have thought. One day, after her and Gary drove me home from an AWF meeting, she told me she had a serious conversation. She wanted to have a serious conversation with me. She wanted me to stop sharing my little stories. Growing very comfortable in that, she said it was time for me to move on. What did she want from me? She wanted me to write my memoir of all that God had done in that last 6 years or so. That is Roman numeral number 4, writing tips. Writing prompt, Roman numeral number 5. Last but not least is Linda's legacy. She leaves us with a prompt. Everyone has a story to tell of life, love, and transformation. We share grief as well as gratitude, and sometimes those overlap. We have messy families. We have messy families and challenges. We infuse, and yes, I use that word on purpose, scriptures that speak only to us at the moment. We encourage people and have experiences, ups and downs, stagnant times, and growth. But God, He prompts us, as Linda so graciously encouraged us to see, to tell of His glory. As I close in prayer and thought, thank you, Lord, for my dear, sweet partner and friend, Linda. Our friendship is a gift from God for each other, and I will forever be grateful to God for the inspiration to develop a unique ministry here at this church that we both love so much. AWF and to develop a unique ministry, the Aspiring Writers Forum, and also to work besides Linda in the coffee break ministry. In God's grace, this is year 16 of the Aspiring Writers Forum, and it's going strong. And I honor her as I sit in room 2 every Wednesday night with all you guys, with all my friends that I love so much I've met over the years. I'll leave you with a quote from C.S. Lewis. What draws people to be friends is that they see the same truth and they share it. Thank you, Linda, for seeing the truth in me and encouraging me to write about it and about God and to give Him the glory always. Thank you for praying for me, for all the times we spent praying for each other, for planning things, for always an encouragement despite how you felt. physically. And I know that you are getting a crown. And may everyone else do the same and lead by her example for God's glory. Thank you, everybody. God bless Linda.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for gathering here today to celebrate the life of Linda Booten. Well, we are all mourning the loss of a sister, a wife, an aunt, and a friend. This service gives us the opportunity to reflect on the amazing life that she lived, the strength and perseverance that she demonstrated through the many medical challenges that she faced, and to honor the legacy that she leaves behind with her family, with her friends, and her church. As most of you know, I'm Linda's younger brother. I shared 64 of Linda's 69 years with her. She and I grew up in a number of cities across the United States: Fort Wayne, Granada Hills, Fort Wayne again, back to California. But grew up in a number of cities across the United States with our parents and siblings, and we stayed in contact as we reached our adult years. And we shared many, many experiences as our adult lives progressed. Linda was always there for me, and I tried to do the same for her. But most importantly, she and I had a special intuitive connection that would always draw us together, in the most crucial times of need. She'd be in the hospital. I knew. A sixth sense, if you will. Much of Linda's life was very family-centric. She was, as noted earlier, the 10th child of Pearl and Otto Grepp. And from the time she was born in Fort Wayne, Indiana, there were always many brothers and sisters around in addition to our parents. As the older siblings got married and began having children, Linda began building strong bonds with many of her nephews and nieces, some of which are here today. These bonds with her siblings and their children became critically important after her illness prevented Gary and her from being able to have children of their own. And as Linda's illness progressed through its many stages over the years, she would find great solace in her phone calls, her visits, and social media exchanges with her family and with her friends as well. It would be very unusual to have a visit with Linda where she would not recall a memory of a family member or family event. She would recount elaborate, detailed stories of these events that I couldn't even recall. And my memory's not very good, but I always had to wonder when Linda told these stories if these events really occurred or if Linda's journalistic skills were just getting creative. I would tease Linda a little bit about this. In fact, if she were here today, she would tell you I teased her more than just a little bit about her storytelling. More than just a little bit about how much older she was than me. And more than just a little bit about how special she was during her many hospitalizations. She really didn't like that. Now, one of the funnier moments that I teased her about was when we were at San Fernando Mission Cemetery, and we were in the middle of interring our brother Tom's and his wife Vicky's ashes. Linda was texting with someone at the church, maybe Colleen or Kathy, that she was going to be meeting with later that day, and they were inquiring as to when she would be back in town. She was describing how we were interring their ashes, and either mistyped or Siri did a correction, but she sent the message out saying that we were in the middle of getting their asses in the ground. Sorry, Pastor. She was more than just a little bit mortified. Now, while Linda and Gary did not have any children of their own, they enjoyed their Basenji breed of dogs, which they referred to as their kids. Right, Gary? Their interest in this breed stemmed from our childhood dog named Ginger. My sister Debbie remembers too. Ginger was a mixed breed which included some of the Basenji bloodline. And over their 48 years of marriage, they had many different Basenjis. I don't know how many, but many. They even bred these Basenjis as well, had some puppies over time. And Linda loved her dogs right up to the end of her life when TJ and Joy, which are both named after two of our siblings, were by her side. Linda and Gary had many addresses over the years, including Lakeside, San Ysidro, and Chula Vista in the San Diego area. Utah was a home for a number of years, but lastly, the Chino Valley and Inland Empire area for the last 24 years. During the San Diego years, Linda earned her, as we already heard, her bachelor's degree in journalism from SDSU. She earned a black belt in Taekwondo. She and Gary raised crops and farm animals, and they also participated in rollerblading. Not bad, considering all the health issues that she battled simultaneously. And during the Chino Valley years, Linda became very close to Donna's and my three sons while they were growing up. She also found this church where she became involved with the groups that we already heard about and made these many close friends and clergy relationships as well, as we heard. Now, you can't fully understand Linda without understanding the health challenges that she endured for the last 45 years. In her early 20s, shortly before meeting Gary, she began experiencing severe digestive issues. And while being treated at UCLA Medical Center, those issues were diagnosed as a condition referred to as pseudo-obstruction. Over the ensuing years, Linda endured countless hospitalizations, surgeries, removal of a portion of her intestines, and the installation of special PICC lines into her veins to receive nutrients while in the hospital and while at home. As she nearly went home to the Lord many times, I don't know how many times, but a lot. But she was a warrior and refused to give up. Every time we thought that she would not pull through, she dug deep and recovered again. Eventually, I would be discussing Linda's condition with family and friends, and all I could say is, don't bet against Linda. But that's where those bonds with her husband, with her family, and with her friends would pay dividends. Those interactions and those memories that I mentioned earlier would fuel Linda to fight through the challenges once again. While the Lord finally decided it was time for Linda to come home, leaving a void for us all, I take solace in knowing that she's in a better place where she's no longer in pain, she doesn't need any medications or medical gear to function. So today, let's celebrate the joy that Linda brought into our lives, the history she would recount for us, the stories that she created, and the smiles that she put on our faces. Her presence enriched our lives while she was with us, and our memories of her will comfort and encourage us in the years to come. Lastly, I would like to thank those that made Linda's life enjoyable and better. First off, Linda could not have had a more faithful husband. Even though Linda was struck by illness very early in their relationship, Gary was always there to support Linda and assist in care for her. Secondly, to my wife, Donna, who opened up our home on multiple occasions to transition Linda and Gary through some difficult times, all while managing our house and boys simultaneously. Those boys were a challenge, too. To my sister, Debbie, who supported Linda for over the years, and she stepped up big time in the last 18 months when Linda was going through a particularly difficult stretch. We couldn't have done it without you. To Linda's many friends for their prayers, support, visits, and encouragement that they provided. And to this church, Pastor Brian, and the members that provided support to Linda and Gary as well. Linda had quite a village looking after her. So, in honor of Linda's penchant for storytelling, I hope you all share with each other your favorite stories about her at the reception. And in conclusion, I say cheers and God bless to a wonderful, strong, but sweet woman of courage and faith that lived a truly amazing life.